All right. Throughout my life, I have battled distinctly with the feeling of exclusion. There are the smaller ways we've all felt, of course. Exclusion in the form of not possessing something, and perhaps not being friends with someone, and not being able to do something with others or that they can do. All understandable and sympathizable experiences. I felt, though, a slightly different exclusion, one that feels more permanent, more underlying. In small and less perceptible manners, perhaps in the years before even I could properly remember, I recall being alone. My mother used to work at night when I was young. The need for such I could obviously never understand, but for every ounce of the lack of comprehension I had, there was in its stead an ambiguous sensation, a curiosity of sorts. And I recall being at her work, a hotel, in the room alone within the dark. It was an inviting feeling, as though the calm and silence of the night could be called home. But I recall, too, having had a realization, I believe, which would not occur to many others for some time. I was truly alone. In the black of that room, I realized that when I close my eyes and open them in anticipation of the morning, there is only me. I am alone, individual, and that realization startled me, to be inherently secluded from the worlds of others. This exclusion manifested itself in several ways throughout my life when I did not feel most immediately comfortable around others. I would recede into myself, limiting my socialization as a child and fraying countless bonds, making me lonelier all the more. I would make friends with what I felt to be the most remarkable of people, and because I was too fearful, too hesitant to act, or perhaps naive, I would... Wait a second. I would wait or... I'm so sorry, guys. This is really illegible. God. I would falter or fail even to do such. God, what does this mean? I'm so sorry. I really cannot read this word. And it's like crucial to the sentence too. I would, in essence, I would drift from people or... No, it's watch, Jesus. I'm so sorry, guys.
No, it's fine.
I would watch or fail even to do such, far too oblivious as they gradually drifted away from me, beyond the horizons of my meager influence. It was as though I was encased in the cocoon and incapable of emergence, having failed to break through to the external world, trapped within my own being. It was of no assistance, then, that I would simply waste away in my own home every day. After school, there was little more for me to do than return home. No one there, my father working. It is strange how quickly unending freedom gives way to a certain unspoken despair in these circumstances. There was realistically nothing more present for me than to ponder my day in those precious few encounters with people. People who would often leave their houses, reconvene, do as they pleased and saw fit, and be merry. It was clear to me by these criteria that I was not a person then. So alone in my room would I sit and ponder, attempting even then to understand myself, growing more biting and accusatory towards myself for these perceived social inabilities. I would still aspire, though, towards that image of people, of my friends. I longed to no longer be excluded from their world, to be alone. I remember a particular day of my life with a certain clarity greater than most others, unbefitting them. It was as any other day, though the sky was tinged an odd gray by low-hanging clouds, an unfamiliar sight. As I'm so sorry, guys. I ascended the familiar hill which led to my home, my only repair. I entered the home, and, as anticipated, was met with nothing. No one was home. I don't know why I'd expected something else. On some days, I would revel in that unspoken silence of an unpeopled home. On some, I would curse it. But on this day, myself having been perhaps 9 years old, I simply didn't understand. I felt numb. It was my birthday, of course, but what necessarily did it matter? It was no particular occasion, a day of falsified significance occurring once every revolution about the sun. And so I did as I do, and I pondered. I sat at the kitchen table and pondered once more. I felt it no less than 5 hours of reflection and deliberation, and it rained. I wanted to cry, to echo the atmosphere about me, but I could not. This upsetting realization only left me further distraught, but still no tears would come forth. I was too weak, even, to cry. Then it occurred to me that perhaps I could not cry because this was but how I always felt, what I intrinsically knew to be true. It was as needless to state as the fact that the sky is blue, for I have known for all my life that I am alone. This dreadful epiphany drove me further still away from all and into myself, not the instance, but the recurrence, the ever-present reminder within. I began to yield that loneliness was but an aspect of myself, of which I would not be rid. I would exist, but not live, always on the periphery and be content. It was merely my character, independent of circumstance. I'm attempting to change that now. There have been many seasons of my life, and as between any seasons, fluctuations. In some fleeting moments with philosophies of every color and variety, I thought I had defeated it, waxing and waning in my ways, but a constant remained in my life called loneliness. It is due to this thing called loneliness that I have grown cynical, been made bitter, and descended to depths of despair greater than I have ever known. But I am now here to prove to myself that loneliness is not a fundamental aspect of my being, that the boy who dreamed of warmth was not wrong to do so, that I am fundamentally human.